Hi Virgo, welcome to your June 2019 Astrology 33 bonus love reading. This is normally a reading that I do for the sign whose video from the previous month had the most likes, views, and new subscribers, but decided to do it for all the signs this month just to give you guys a feel for what this spread is about. Also, before I forget, if you guys want to book a personal reading with me, follow me on Instagram or donate to the channel, just check out the description of the video for more info on all of that. And for those of you who normally watch my general videos, the first thing you'll notice is that there's different tarot decks on the table. So on the left side here, we have the Lover's Path Tarot. And then on the right side, we have Tarot of Sexual Magic. All right, and then the spread is also different than what I normally use for the general readings as well. This is a spread that I refer to as the Bridging the Gap spread. So to give you a quick rundown of how it works, the three cards on this side would represent your energy, and then the three cards on the other side would represent the other person's energy. Now it is a general reading too, so as we're going through the general spread, if you feel like the energies on this side sound more like you and this sounds more like the other person, totally trust that, that's fine. But that's at least how it would play out. And then these cards represent the past energies towards the connection, the present energies towards the connection, and then the future energies towards the connection. So, pretty simple. And then what we do after we get through the main spread is I'll actually try to pull some oracle cards to see if there's any additional messages, and that's where the bridging the gap aspect comes into play. All right, so we'll get started with your side, with your past energy, and two cards came up there. So we have Awakening, and we have King of Coins. So there's a couple ways that this could play out. Well, Awakening, first of all, is the equivalent of the Sun card in the regular tarot deck. And then the King of Coins I usually see as an energy of Taurus. So, this could mean that you're dealing with a Taurus, let's say. It could obviously be you as well, since you are also an Earth sign. But the way I'm really looking at this, considering that the Sun card here specifically is referred to as Awakening, the real combination of these two that I'm seeing that calls out to me is that you guys might have just really had some kind of enlightenment regarding how you viewed love relationships. You might have looked at them from a higher perspective in the past. Just because the reason I say that is, Taurus energy represents the ninth house for you, and that's, a house of Sagittarius where, philosophies and beliefs can come into play. And combine that with Awakening, I just feel like it might have been a shift that you'd undergone. And that would make sense too, given that Uranus did recently go into Taurus, and it's going to be there for the long haul. So that's the main vibe that I'm getting. Another way that this could play out too is just to say that, maybe you came to an awakening as far as having feelings for someone, possibly a Taurus or, again, another Earth sign. And, maybe it never really crossed your mind in the past. Maybe you'd only viewed this person as a friend, and now all of a sudden you're starting to feel a little bit differently towards them. All right, and then the past energy on their side, we have the Queen of Chalices. So this is the equivalent of the Queen of Cups, and I actually see this as a card that represents Cancer. So for you guys, Cancer is actually your 11th house. So there's one thing there. So this could actually be saying that it might even be a friend. Maybe there's someone that was in your life for a while that you only viewed as a friend, and maybe for whatever reason, the way you viewed them shifted recently. Or this could just also be pointing to as well the fact that, Mars recently moved into the sign of Cancer. So maybe that's just saying that, this might have made this person feel more passionate, especially if they actually are a Cancer, obviously, or any water sign. Could have just had them feeling a bit more passionate. With the Queen of Cups and the Rider-Waite, I do always point out how the cup for the Queen of Cups is closed as opposed to the other ones are always open. So this could just represent that as well, that maybe they were a little bit closed off. But really, if we look at the artwork in this deck, I feel that this is someone who's pretty open and passionate towards you. So, yeah, most likely, and that could also be the way it played out as well. Maybe you were trying to approach things from a very practical standpoint. With the King of Coins, right? Maybe you're just trying to, take things slow, and then maybe this person was coming across a bit more passionately, and maybe it awakened, quote unquote, the passions in you, right? The sun energy is definitely a good, enlightened energy, a fun, vibrant energy as well. So that's what I see going on there. But what's interesting is as we move into the present energy on your side, we have the King of Arrows. So this is actually a court card for Aquarius. And if you notice the name in this particular deck, it's Adonis. And if you look at his body language too, to me it just seems like someone who's closed off, detached, which, I know Aquarius, stereotypically Aquarius is referred to as detached, but particularly with this artwork here, it almost looks like he has his nose up in the air a bit, right? It looks like he's sitting at the top of a mountain by himself. So, and notice that he's also facing away from the other person's energy as well. So there's that. So to me, this could just say that you have a very detached outlook towards the relationship right now for whatever reason. Aquarius for you does represent your sixth house as well. There's nothing really going on there right now as far as transits, but I do find that interesting. So maybe that King of Coins we see in the past could just be saying that maybe you're just more focused on work right now. Maybe you've put love on the back burner, and that's why you're like, what? Even if you do have feelings for this person, right? With the awakening, you're just like, what? Right now I'm trying to focus on my finances, and that's it. And you're just not even trying to think about the connection, right? Like that, the arrows here, basically, they're the equivalent to swords in the regular deck, but the arrows have the hearts on the end too. So to me, it could just be saying that, all right, you have the feelings for the person, right? And you're like, what? At any given time, I could throw this arrow at them and we'll be back at it. But right now, I'm trying to focus on some other things. And in a way, that would make sense too, because, in June every year for you guys, that's when the sun's in Gemini, and Gemini is your 10th house. So it could just really have you more focused on finances and getting your career in order and not really worrying about love as much. So that could be what's going on there. Not to mention, you guys have some heavy stuff going on in your 5th house, too. So you just might not be in the most loving mood right now, quite frankly. All right. And then in their energy in the present, we have the Queen of Pentacles. So this is actually a court card for me for Capricorn. So could be a Capricorn, absolutely. But what stands out to me with this card more than anything is, again, almost that same vibe. The way that I said, this person, Adonis, seems to be feeling themselves and really like, what, I'm not going towards that person. I'm not making any advances towards that person. If they want me, they could come to me, right? I get that same kind of vibe with this card too, because if we look at her, she's like checking herself out in the mirror basically, and she has this dude down there kissing her feet basically. So basically the two of you could just really be feeling yourselves right now. Well, she's literally feeling herself, but you know what I mean? Like you could just really be into yourselves and feeling like the other person should be doing the work, if anything. And you're like, what? I got other things that I'm focusing on right now. If there's going to be anything between us, they're going to have to be the ones to make the move, right? So that could be what's going on there. So, to be fair, I mean, you're definitely mirroring each other in that regard. So, if you're happy with that, if you really are just trying to focus on your finances, lucky you. It appears this person doesn't seem to be willing to make any moves towards you right now either. But if that's not what you're trying to, not the energy you're trying to be in right now, something worth considering. That, it seems like you guys are just bringing the exact same energy to each other. And again, you're looking off that way, she's looking off the other way. So it doesn't look like you guys are really going to get anything going in the present. All right, now in the future, though, we do have a change of energy in that regard. We have the Ace of Cups on your side. Now, what I always say with the ace energies, Especially inspired by the artwork and the Rider Waite. You know, all of the aces, they always have like this hand coming out of clouds, it seems. So when I see the ace, I always think of them as more something in the idea stage, you know? So it's like, you know, you could be thinking, all right, maybe I should make a love offer towards this person, right? Whereas if it was the actual page of cups, I would be more inclined to say, okay, you're actually going to make the offer. So, you know, this could just be a shift for you. And, you know, this could be towards the end of the month, basically. Um, and that could be when you decide, all right, well, maybe I actually need to do something, right? Make some kind of a move. Um, you know, Venus will move into your 10th house around, I believe, the 10th of June or so. So maybe that's where the shift comes into play there. You know, maybe you're a little bit more open to love at that point. You know, you could still have a pretty heavy focus on finances. That wouldn't surprise me. But just having Venus in the 10th might make you think of ways maybe you could incorporate something as far as your love life into that as well. All right, and then on their side in the future, we have the Seven of Wands. So, really, what I'm feeling here is it looks like the two of you could actually make some progress towards connecting. It might be them who actually does make the advance as far as the Seven of Wands. To me, is like that standing up and putting up a fight type energy. Whereas again, the Ace to me, yes, it might show that you have intent to make a move, but I'm not quite sure you're actually going to do it since it's just the Ace. So it might be that person. Um, and it could have just been like a temporary thing. And maybe, like I said, it just has to do with the transits that were at play. Because in the present, it definitely seems like neither of you are trying to move toward the other, whether you're just expecting the other person to put in the work or not, I don't know. But, you know, like I said, in the past, we do see some passion there. With the awakening, that could mean that they awakened some passion in you in the past, but for whatever reason, the present seemed like that wasn't happening. And now in the future, you know, I see this as possibly getting back on that same page in that regard. So could just be a temporary blip on the radar. I don't know. We'll see if the oracle cards point to any reason why there's this rift that seems to have appeared out of nowhere. But last thing I'll say regarding the main spread is at the bottom of the deck on your side, we have the Prince of Staves. So this is the equivalent of the Prince of Wands. So, you know, this could just be referring to the energy you're taking on. Maybe you're trying to travel. Could be one way it's playing out. Or maybe you're just feeling a bit more, you know, adventurous, not really trying to lock anything down as far as one specific connection. That could be another way it's playing out, but this could just say that you're ready to take action too, given that it's at the bottom of the deck. So combine that with the Ace of Cups, it's possible you'd be making a move, but we'll see. And then what's interesting on the bottom of the deck on their side is they have the Temperance card. So really, those are both Sagittarius energies. The Prince of Staves is a Sagittarius card. This is a Major Arcana card for Sagittarius, so that's a bit interesting. But really with this, I see this playing out more in the present energy, which is basically to say, like I was saying, you guys seem like you're mirroring each other in the present. So when they see you detach and decide that you have other things you need to do, it looks like they likewise say, well, you know what, I'm not going to put any effort in towards this either. So again, that could be problematic, but it does look like in the future you guys will get out that energy for what it's worth. So yeah, we'll see what the oracle cards have to say actually as far as exactly what's going on between the two of you guys. So I have two oracle decks, and the first one I'm going to try to get some cards from is the Mystic Moon oracle deck that I have here. We'll see if there's any unspoken messages from you toward them, and then any unspoken messages from them toward you. So I do pre-shuffle these decks before I start recording, but you know, I do try to get a card or two here, shuffling after we go through the main spread, so we'll see what we get. And also, you know, if I'm shuffling for a while and nothing pops up, I actually take that as a sign too and just say, all right, well, nothing's meant to come up, and then we'll move on to the second oracle deck that I have. But we'll see. So like I said, first we'll see if we can get anything as far as unspoken messages from you toward them. Oh, almost got one there, but it popped back in. And I prefer to use jumpers personally. I'm not someone. Oh, speaking of jumpers, just got one. Hold on. But yeah, I was going to say I prefer personally jumpers as opposed to shuffling for a while and pulling one from the top. So let's see what we got here. Huh. Interesting. Yes, that definitely seems to confirm what's going on with the present for you anyway. Now we'll see if there's anything for them toward you. I like these cards because they're pretty straightforward messages, you know. So they're not like anything mind-blowing, but I do like that they're straightforward because sometimes you could get a spread that's just leading to more questions than answers. And I don't like to pull out 80 clarifying cards with the same deck. So we'll see if we get anything from them toward you. Oop, got another one, and this one also fell. Awesome. So give me a second, I'm going to go get that one. We'll see what it says. Alrighty then. So, not as poignant as the message that we have on your side, but let's go through them. The one from your side says, oh, if I could get it to focus, it says, I just have to do something else right now. Please try and understand. So maybe that's like I was saying. I did pick up on that vibe that, you know, even though, like I said, with the Adonis energy, one impression I get with that is, all right, maybe you're just feeling yourself and really, you know, turning your nose up to everything, like, oh, whatever, I'll let them come to me. And when I'm ready, I have that arrow, I could just get them back when I'm ready for them to come back. But I did mention the fact that, you know, it could be related to you're just focusing on your career or maybe even some other things in your life right now. Like I said, in the sign of Capricorn, which is your fifth house, there's a lot going on. So, you know, you could just be reevaluating how you approach romance in general. That could be what the awakening card is about as well. And even your fourth house, you know, your fourth house represents you know, belief systems that you grew up with, and having Jupiter retrograde in there right now, you could also be reevaluating those things. So, but yeah, it just says I just have to do something else right now. Please try and understand. So, you know, the unfortunate thing is it doesn't look like you are expressing that to them. Again, it is an unspoken message toward them, right? So, something to think about. Maybe you should mention that to them if you're worrying about, you know, them possibly thinking you're just not interested in moving on. But on their side toward you, it says, I've thought a lot about you lately. So, you know, pretty simple message there, right? So, and you know, again, with that Queen of Chalices in the past and then the Seven of Wands in the future, it could definitely be that they would actually be the ones to initiate something with you in the near future. But hopefully you got something out of those messages. All right. And then the last thing we'll do is we'll try to pull a card from this deck here. This is the Wisdom of the Oracle deck. It's one of the Oracle decks I use in the general readings as well. So you're probably used to this one if you watch the regular readings. But just try to pull one card from here to see if there's any additional overall messages to add to the mix. And then we'll wrap up. Alright, got one. Soulmates. Alrighty then. So, there you go. There's the artwork for it. And the number is 41. You know, almost interesting too that soulmates with penguins, right? You almost think of the cool energy. Obviously, they're out there in some pretty cold environments, so it could just say that things have cooled off between the two of you. And again, especially if you really are just focusing on other things right now, that makes sense. But I don't know, if you feel like maybe it's going a little too far, maybe you just do at least want to let them know what's going on with you. But you could feel that out, I'm sure, and you know your situation better than me. But we'll see what this card's messages add to the mix too. Alright, it says essential meanings: harmonious partnerships, love, friendship, companionship, a relationship fostering personal growth. The Oracle's message: you are meant to evolve and transform with the companionship of others. Certain people enter into your life in order to take you to the next level of healing, consciousness, and authenticity. It is always a reciprocal experience, although the results for each of you will vary. You know these people by the strong pull drawing you toward them, and sometimes by a strong aversion to them initially too. Soulmates can be friends for life or remain in your life for only a short time. No matter what, you will be changed in ways you can't possibly fathom now. Pay attention to these people today. They are your greatest gifts. So what really stood out to me there was when it said, where'd it go? You know these people by the strong pull drawing you towards them, and sometimes by a strong aversion to them initially too. Almost made me think of how in the past it looked like there might have been that strong pull towards them, right? Like I said, the Queen of Chalices could represent that passion and the awakening, right? Being awakened to passion towards them. But then in the present, looks like there's an aversion, right? The two of you are looking totally separate from each other, in opposite directions, rather. So, pretty interesting there. All right, and then the relationship message says, consider love in the deepest sense. Love so powerful that you will never be the same, regardless of how long your relationship lasts. Consider friendships and romantic bonds so compelling that they overwhelm you with gratitude, or break you open so you will finally claim who you were meant to be. Even a companion animal reminds you that it is you who is being rescued and healed. Pay attention, for you are in the presence of a soulmate, come to guide you home to the real you. So that's interesting there, pretty solid message. And it's funny too, because maybe with that mirroring, that might show you where you don't have some of the healthiest mechanisms in a relationship dynamic, right? Like I said, just turning your back to the relationship as opposed to letting them know, hey, I'm going through something. And to be fair, it's not a blame game here. It looks like they're not handling it in the best way either. So, and maybe that's what you're both learning from each other. Like, okay, if I'm going to be an ass, so are they. So either we could stay in that energy forever or we could actually communicate, right? So something to think about there. Hopefully that resonated for you guys. We'll wrap up there and I'll see you guys next month. Bye.